recording nerds! Today's video topic comes from one of my earliest clients, a vocalist by the name of Mark Aruda, and he says,
you should do a top 10 of what not to do on stage as a frontman. I've seen a lot of dumb shit from professionals and amateurs. Man, I've had to learn from my mistakes on stage the hard way. LOL.
Thanks for the awesome suggestion, Mark. You rule, dude. And just a reminder to everyone, if you have any cool suggestions for videos like this, leave them in the comments below, and I might just make it happen. And to all you frontmen out there, yes, we all know that you already know everything. It's kind of what frontmen do. But I am going to try and throw some useful advice your way for you all to ignore. Number 1, move the fuck around. I've seen a fair share of shows in my lifetime, and nothing puts me to sleep like a frontman who doesn't move around. Well, that's not completely true. I once fell asleep during a Terry Bozzio drum solo, but the point remains. If you're not fucking entertaining, if you're gonna be boring as fuck, at least let me know beforehand so I can remember to bring a lawn chair and a good book. Seriously, if I want to be bored, I'll go to a jazz show. Here's the thing, guys. You're on stage with one purpose: entertaining people. And guess what? You standing there with your feet rooted to the ground isn't very entertaining. That's why you need to be on the move. Walk up and down the stage, strike a pose, hell, do something instead of standing there like you've got a bad case of hemorrhoids. And you know what? I can absolutely forgive the standing around if your frontman is both a singer and a guitar player, but you guys who just sing, you have no excuse for being bored. So feel free to use them and, gesture a little. Oh, and speaking of free hands, number 2, use your hands. Besides using your hands to entertain yourself, there's another really neat trick you can use them for. Consider this a public service announcement to all the singers out there. Hey, asshole! Help your bandmates carry their shit! I'm not making this up. I've seen bands unloading their gear, and the self-important Axl Rose wannabe decides he's only going to carry his quarter-pound microphone to the stage, and then he goes for a cigarette. All the while, his bandmates are lugging heavy amps, cabs, drums, PA. Why be helpful when you could just stand around doing nothing like you do during the show? After all, you're an undiscovered rock star, and the rest of the group should be thanking their lucky stars that you've blessed them with your presence. Seriously, if you're in a band with a guy like that, go slap the cigarette out of his egotistical mouth and fart in his general direction, because that's all that fucking moron deserves. Now, if you're a singer, look, I get it. This doesn't exactly tie in with the stage show, but believe me, you'll have plenty of time to show the world just how great you truly are. You have to keep in mind that the show is only part of the bigger picture. A show is more than you just playing to a crowd. There's the setup, the management, sound check, all the little details that must be accounted for so that shit can run smoothly. And you not helping where you obviously can is just a dick move. So yeah, use your hands, both on stage and off stage. Oh, except of course for number 3. Hands off the mic. No, really. I've said this 1,000 times. I've even put it on t-shirts. I've dedicated a good chunk of my career here on YouTube to spreading this message. And for some reason, some of you morons keep fucking doing it. I'll say it again in plain English so even you guys out there can understand. Stop cupping the mic, you dumb fuck! And if that didn't get through to you, rewind this video a few seconds and put it on 25% speed. Maybe then it will be slow enough so even your smooth brain can comprehend it. You dumb fuck! Then again, one can't add more to a cup that's already full. To put it simply, cupping the mic will not help you focus the sound of your voice. Because when you cup the mic, you're covering its tuned ports, which makes your mic unidirectional. You're basically turning a great cardioid mic into a shitty omnidirectional. And if you want to know why that's bad, just wait for the screeching feedback, because I'm sure your audience is gonna love it. And let's be absolutely clear, I do understand why you guys do it. For one, you think it makes you look cooler. Here's the truth, it doesn't. Fuck you. Number 2, it really does give you a noticeable volume boost, which certainly can make a difference in a club with a shitty PA and no monitors. But then again, the real solution is to shell out cash for an in-ear monitoring system and to hire a sound guy. Yeah, like you cheap motherfuckers are ever gonna pay for a sound guy. I don't know how many bands I've had come into the studio who told me the exact same story over the years. We had a show last night, went pretty well, but the sound was terrible. Did you pay for the sound guy? Well, no, the bar supplied them. Bad sound at your gig, you say? Wow, the cause is a real mystery, isn't it? Number 4, plan your performance. Hey Siri, What's the definition of choreography?
Choreography means the sequence of steps and movements in dance or figure skating, especially in a ballet or other stage dance.
Okay, why are you looking at me? You should be writing this shit down! Okay, let's be clear here. This is metal. This is not an NSYNC or Backstreet Boys concert. Let's leave the scripted dancing to those corporate fucks, but let's also not let ego get in the way of a good show. Planning your stage show ahead of time can really enhance the overall feel and vibe for your band. And it doesn't have to be something outlandish or really out there. It really doesn't take a lot of creativity to be more interesting than the Attack of the Clones gent and prog bands out there. Ooh, standing still while playing headless 8-string guitars? Count me in! But we play technical music. Nobody gives a fuck if you're boring! Try coming up with something that will grab people's attention. Just as an example, let's say you have a song about medieval war or something. Why not bring out a prop sword and point it at a few people while you sing? Hell, Motley Crue used to light their bass player on fire. Maybe you could do that and just not put him out. Or piss on him to put him out. Either scenario is totally acceptable. If you're serious about being a frontman, you should really get into the habit of planning your stage show. You're in the spotlight for like 99% of the time, so maybe you should put some thought into it. Number 5, dress up. Nothing screams we're just like everybody else like a band that gets dressed up on stage in Slayer shirts and then plays music that sounds just like Slayer. Oh yeah, that's so fucking cool, guys. You're just like the band you're basically ripping off. Hey guys, here's a real band hack. If you ever want to know what an indie metal band sounds like, just look at the shirts that they're wearing in their band photos. It's a dead giveaway. No, stop denying the obvious. It's true, and you fucking know it is too. And you know what? Fuck that shit. I came to your show expecting just that. A show. This is metal for crom's sake. It's supposed to be larger than life. Big, angry, and most importantly, fun. There's nothing fun about watching a band perform a terrible rendition of a song that's on a frontman's shirt. Take it from bands like Steel Panther or Gwar or Ghost. Those guys are all dressed up in some way or another, and that signals what the band is about. It helps create a certain mystique or presentation about the band that carries over into the live performance. Now, I'm not saying you have to go on stage wearing a pink dress just to catch some attention, but it would kill you to put some fucking effort into looking the part. You're a frontman, so fucking act like it! All it takes is a little creativity. You can go the extra mile and find your own image, but don't come out sporting the same tired corpse paint that every other band that's playing the show with you has. Number 6, practice in front of a mirror. One of the biggest issues you're going to run into as a frontman is not knowing how you look when you're performing. This can lead to all sorts of hilarious moments on stage where the frontman is awkwardly posing around like he just had an accident with a bike seat. And while we can all appreciate the bit of humor at the vocalist's expense here and there, it's not something most people can stomach for more than a small dose at a time. Look guys, flailing your arms around like you're one of those inflatable car dealership tube men isn't cool, it isn't awesome. It's laughable, and at best it's downright gut-wrenching at worst. So how do you get around it? Well, you're a frontman. Do what you do at home all the time, and that's look in a mirror. Yes, I am serious. Go practice your moves in front of a mirror. See what your audience will see, and get a feel of what comes naturally. Performing to a crowd is kind of like playing an instrument. You need to practice, you need mileage, you may even need those 10,000 hours to really master it. So what are you waiting for? Go find a mirror! Another idea would be to practice some sort of routine at your band's jam sessions and video recording. That way you can review what you're up to and have some idea of what to refine. As a frontman, it's obvious that you're never going to get tired of looking at yourself, so why not videotape the whole experience? That way you can gift the world with a document of your rise to rock and roll glory. Number 7, go easy on the booze. Let me ask you something, fellow viewer. What comes to mind when you think of a person that's generally unpleasant to be around? Crazy conspiracy nut jobs? Jesus freaks? These days, there's not much separating the two. Amber Heard? All correct answers, but let's look at something you're far more likely to see at a metal show. The obnoxious drunk asshole. You know, the guy who keeps rambling to himself loudly and drooling like a moron as he stares at the bartender's chest? Yeah, that guy. Now ask yourself this. Why in the fuck are you letting that guy be the frontman of your band? Nothing kills the mood of a show like a singer who can barely fucking sing, or even worse, barely stand on his 2 feet. Despite what everyone with a substance abuse problem will deny, alcohol is a depressant, and in higher quantities, it'll negatively affect your brain function and motor skills. You know, those things you need to fucking perform with? And I get it. Some people use alcohol to take the edge off before a show. They say things like, I'm too nervous to play sober. But you know what? If you need a crutch to get in front of a dozen or so people, then maybe you're not cut out for the fucking job. With the frontman who actually possesses a pair of balls, please stand up. And if you're too chicken shit to sound off like you got a pair, have a beer, not 20 fucking 4. Number 8, warm up before a show and take care of your voice. Why is this important? Well, let's say you're on tour. You're playing quite a few gigs, but your monitoring situation sucks harder than Lisa Ann. So you compensate by cupping the mic and screaming so much you start to strain your throat. That is going to do a number on your voice, and by the time you're at your 5th or 6th show, you can kiss what's left of your voice goodbye. And guess what? Your voice is your instrument. You actually need it to do the fucking show. Need I remind you, geniuses, that you're in a metal band. You're not one of those girls on YouTube doing a ukulele and whisper rendition of every song that's ever been made. You're doing loud, throat-shredding vocals, and if you don't give your voice some rest, then good fucking luck ever finishing your tour. People paid to come see you, and they expect you to be on your A game. Lay off the booze, don't smoke 2 packs of cigarettes before you go on stage, and maybe avoid giving excessive fan service in the back alley. And most importantly of all, warm up before you go on stage. Do some light vocal and breathing exercises, hum to yourself, and do the vibrating lip thing and go through your range. Shit like that. The 4 people who showed up to your gig will thank you. Oh yeah, and speaking of the audience, number 9, interact with the audience. If you really want to leave an impression on people and be a show stealer, interacting with the audience is definitely a good way to do it. Engage the crowd. Ask them how they're doing. Tell them you're excited to be there, or even point the mic at them so they can sing along. You can even go the extra mile and write out some stage banter. That way you'll have something to keep the show going while your Neanderthal drummer adjusts his hi-hat stand for the 600,000th time. You can build hype for the next song or tell a joke of sorts. The best advice I can give on this subject, go see a Steel Panther show and watch the masters at work. Number 10, don't insult the audience. Now, while interacting with the audience is important, there are certain boundaries that, if crossed, will result in you getting booed off stage. Granted, this is a bit harder to gauge than what you should do, but here's a short, helpful list of things to not say to your audience. Don't whine if your audience doesn't mosh. Don't toss your water bottle into the crowd. Don't spit on people. Don't argue with the venue staff. Don't tell the audience you hate the town that you're playing. Just to name a few helpful tips here. Most importantly, don't let your ego be the reason you ruin a show. If you're not getting the reaction you're expecting, don't throw out some empty threats like, if you don't like the show, we're just going to go home, because at that point, people might start cheering. If it's not going well, buckle down, give the best performance you possibly can, and power through the show. Because if you're not treating every show you play like a sold-out concert at Madison Square Gardens, then you don't deserve to be on that fucking stage. Number 11, learn from past performances. Let's face it, when we start doing something completely new, we tend to kind of suck at it. Some of us more than others, but I think it's safe to say that most of us probably can't wow an audience the way Freddie Mercury did at the first Queen show. When you start out, remember, it's okay to be terrible because you're only going to get better. And if you take what you do seriously, there's ways you can get there faster. For starters, you can video every show you do and watch it back with your band. Ask your bandmates to be objective and to tell you what looks good when you do it and what sucks. Be mindful of how the audience responds as well. You might see a big cheer erupt when you do a cool move, so work it in as a regular thing if you can. Lastly, the biggest tip I can give you here is to work on your charisma. Go grab an Audible subscription. And no, this is not a sponsored video. Audible is a great resource that I use all the time. Listen to a couple of audiobooks on how to boost your charisma. There's a reason some people call it transfer of enthusiasm. Maybe even find some time to study human psychology, because when you understand how people behave in groups, you can play to those natural instincts and start bringing the fucking roof down. Knowledge is power. And if you don't have the knowledge before you hit the stage, you won't be playing to an audience who loved your band. You'll just be playing with yourself. Consider this. Let's do that again. Let's do that one more time. Sorry about that. A lot of takes on this. Service and the fuck. That was the calm version. Let's do that a little bit more shouty. Ah, crap.